to be set by Joplin Schools Political Subdivision. We'll hold Pat.
Bobby Green.
Here.
David Weaver.
Here.
Brian Lee Hartwell.
Here.
John Hurd.
Present.
Brent George.
Present.
Jeff Pope.
Present.
And Derek Gander.
Present.
Thank you.
Shelley has all the facts and figures to inform us concerning the 2022 tax rate. Shelley?
Okay, tonight we want to present the documents that we shared for the tax rate hearing. It was publicly posted at Joplin City Hall, Denawake City Hall, and Memorial Education Center. We're required to post it at least 3 public places or in a newspaper. So we did the three places. Of course, providing a quality education and becoming the school of choice is very important to Joplin schools. We pulled, if you'll go to the second slide there, we pulled the, go back there. We pulled all enrollment for Missouri schools over 5,000 and then rated their tax levies. And the highest one was $6.45.5, which was Liberty. The lowest was Waynesville at $2.95, but Waynesville receives most of their money from federal impact aid through Fort Leonard Wood, so you really kind of exclude those, or it doesn't match up with the rest of us. So then Joplin Schools is the next lowest at 5,000 over enrollment. What's highlighted in blue there are the surrounding area schools, and we are the 4th lowest levy of those schools. The next slide shows our assessed valuation, which this year went up to $1,117,686, which was an increase of 5.83% or $61.5 million. Our levy last year was $2.75 for the operating fund and 91 cents for the debt service fund. And in even numbered years, which we're in right now, we can, with a resolution by the board, to raise our tax rate to the ceiling, which is $3.10.5. And that would allow us to go up to that ceiling rate and do a voluntary reduction. And then we could move money from what we've got in the debt service fund levy over to the operating levy and still keep the same $3.60 rate overall for our citizens. So why would we want to consider this option? If we go to the next slide and go one more. Our weighted average daily attendance is how we get our funding from the state. And we have seen a decline in enrollment since the pandemic. The state has allowed us to continue using the 19-20 years of average daily attendance to get our funding. We thought that was going away this year, but late May, I think they decided that they would go ahead and give us another year of that funding, which has helped us out tremendously. But we are seeing a little bit of a reduction this year because our summer school numbers went from 251 of average daily attendance down to 245 this year. So the summer school, you get the actual for that year, you get that plus whatever the 1920 was overall. So if the state had not reinstated this pandemic clause, we'd be paid on our highest weighted average daily attendance, which would be a reduction of $2,066,829. So by doing this, if we go to the next slide, Eric, we could, by changing how we're collecting our levy, moving more to the operating and the reduction in our debt service, it would allow us, or go one more slide over, sorry. It would allow us to have an increase of $1,663,000 to our general operating fund. So it'd still be positioned to meet our debt service obligations, maintain our staff for the next year, and also handle all the inflation numbers that we're starting to see on all the supplies that are coming through. And we still anticipate being able to make our maximum transfer over to the capital projects fund to handle any future needs that we have in our building. Next year is a reassessment year, and it's really a great unknown. We know we're anticipating that we will see significant increases in overall assessed valuation. The state has a maximum amount of 5% that you can go up. So we know that it's probably going to trigger our levy back to that $2.75, which is the max or the minimum levy. So depending on how the debt service falls out next year, then we may see an overall reduction next year in our total tax levy. But we're committed to keeping the tax rate the same, proposing the shift of rates internally from the debt service over to the operating levy. And we're asking the board tonight to approve a resolution to set the tax rate ceiling at the $3.10 with a voluntary reduction of 19.5 cents to get us down to the $2.91 for operating fund and then a 75-cent debt service levy. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Do we have anybody present that would like to be heard regarding the district's proposed tax rate for 2022?
Just one question, Shelley, is there the funds and the level based on students, is that disappearing in this calendar year or is it the next calendar year?
It will be next year, but we can only do this going up to the ceiling this year.
Okay. So then, yeah, okay, so then we're gonna, by moving this, we're gonna push 1.6 million additional funds into this year.
Correct. Which we would probably next year potentially lose with the number of students going down, and probably our minimum levy is going to have to go back to the 275. So just trying to plan for future, plus inflation numbers that we might see this year, as we've seen supplies coming through, and a lot of things have gone up considerably, which everybody is seeing that.
Any more discussion?
I'd like to thank Ms. Tom for her work on this tonight. I think the big takeaway from this is what we're doing is we're positioning Joplin schools for a pretty strong financial, and putting us in a strong financial position moving forward. So I appreciate you looking into the future on this and working hard to put us in a position when things may change at the state level to be able to weather that storm and then be able to do so with no impact to our students and our patrons. So thank you.
Entertain a motion to approve resolution as recommended.
So moved.
Second.
First by Mr. Weaver, second by Mr. Hurd. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. That motion passes. Entertain a motion to adjourn to regular session.
So moved. Second.
Riley and Mr. Weaver. No, I'm sorry, Donnie. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Jeff?
Yes.
Yes. That motion passes. Call this regular session to order, and we won't need a roll call. Please join me for a pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Donnie, second by Brent. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Jeff?
Yes.
Yes, that motion passes. We've got reports, celebrations. I'll try to do this without laughing. I think about Mr. Petty. Collaborative team training. Should have a slide. Every principal and grade level department head received 2 days of intense collaborative team training before school started. The stage was set with the expectations of high functioning collaborative teams, curriculum improvements, and tools to aid in those discussions. Great systems are in place for our department leaders to accomplish their work. They were asked to keep the end goal of creating high functioning teams in mind, but be ready to hit roadblocks and fail forward. Scholarships honoring officers. Bright Futures Joplin presented a check for $7,170 the Missouri Southern Foundation to create 2 scholarships in memory of Joplin police officers Ben Cooper and Jake Reed. The scholarships will be available to Joplin High School students interested in studying law enforcement at MSSU. These scholarships will be awarded to students based on academic standing and community service. Funds for the scholarships were raised by BFJ at the annual Guns and Hoses basketball scrimmage between Joplin Police and Joplin firefighters. That's awesome. Welcome, class of 2026. The freshman orientation kicked off the year for approximately 450 freshmen. The newbies were introduced to the JHS routine and the many activity options they can choose. JHS Fusion leaders assisted freshmen throughout the morning as they met their Fusion mentors. Transition teachers toured JHS and received their Chromebooks. Pictures coming up, Mr. Peck. Opening day celebration, Joplin Schools employees gathered at Joplin High School Performing Arts Center to welcome the 2022-23 school year. The back to school event featured opening day messages from Superintendent Dr. Carrie Saketa and Board President Jeff Cope. Inspiring videos from Teacher of the Year Julie Pagan and Support Staff Member of the Year Jason Barchak. Inaugural Principal Director Lip Sync Showcase happened as well. Sorry. South Middle School, Irving, Stapleton, and Kelsey Norman wowed the crowd with Queen's Don't Stop Me Now. North Middle School, Dover Hill, Jefferson, Cecil Floyd responded with Queen, We Are the Champions. One and only Facilities Department. Made It, Al Yankovic, Weird, Eat It. Another one rides the bus, and I'm so happy. And for everyone that attended, it was awesome. East Middle School, Soaring Heights, Eastmoreland, McKinley, Royal Heights, and Beacon revealed Survivors, The Eye of the Tiger. Joplin High School and Franklin Technical Center flaunted their dance moves to Young MC's Bust a Move. And Dr. Saketa, our one and only, closed the show with Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up. Do we have any video of that?
Please no.
Yes. I do have some on my phone.
I noticed Inspiring wasn't listed as that part of that.
It was phenomenal. That was a great day for JHS. It was good to be back. Update on the debate team national competition in Louisville, Kentucky. Joplin Schools national debate qualifiers successfully competed in Louisville, Kentucky this summer. The World Schools team, consisting of Joplin High School students Christina Post, should be a 2022 graduate, Ashley Heron, senior, Elizabeth Bertram, junior, Asa Bodenhorn, junior, and Kate Tyson, sophomore, advanced to the triple octofinals, placing in the top 64 in the nation. Harmony Vodika, 2022 graduate, advanced to the top 60 nationally in storytelling. Jenna Compton, senior, advanced to the top 3rd in extemp debate in a field of 900 competitors. Congratulations. Joplin Schools Health Fair 2022. Dorothy Alsens, along with the Human Resources Department, Operations Department staff, and volunteers, provided the staff of Joplin Schools and the public another great health fair. The fair featured 124 different vendors with 145 booth spaces, tables. Both hospitals represented and provided free and paid screenings. Independent doctors, dentists, insurance, banks, restaurants, retailers, etc. promoted their services to 500 attendees. It was a good turnout. 500.
It's very good.
Absolutely. Board Finance Committee report. That'd be Jeff and Mr. Weaver.
Yeah, we had a meeting with Shelley and Carrie regarding the tax levy we just passed, and so spent some time on that and received some good information. John was able to sit in on that and went through that together. So I think that was our activity for this month.
Great. Superintendent's data report. We have a construction update. Not dancing up there?
That's Dave's.
You missed it.
Did you get the video?
You missed it. I've got some video.
I need to see that.
He's good.
That's what I hear. Okay, I've got nothing but good to say tonight.
Awesome.
Okay, in progress. Concrete work on the south side of the building. That is the playground area. So we've started that area. Playground equipment actually starts 9/6, so September 6th. South canopy footings and columns, that has started as well. Fiber being installed, that's fiber into the building. Brick work continues. We've got about 4 weeks left on the brick. So we're essentially done on the south side. They're moving their big scaffolding to the north side and gonna rock and roll there. Metal panels, it's a long process, but it looks really, really good. Haven't quite started on the canopy. I'm really looking for that red, that pop to come through, but they're starting on the silver panels right now. Looks really good. Interior finishes, as far as that goes, we've got paint, millwork, and tile in area B. We're finishing the sheetrock in area A. Classrooms, we're getting the nano walls, so kind of the movable walls that separates the classrooms into multiple classrooms, or you can open it up into one big one. That actually started today. Epoxy floor starts next week. Carpeting in area B starts 9/6. So we're getting that finish train going. We've got a lot of finishes going. Polished concrete down the corridors starts 9/21. See if we can see some photos here. Just a work in progress. That ring on the right is part of the playground area. A lot of decorative shapes back there. More of the south side. Beautiful building. As we reported last time, lots of colors still going in. All the different classroom groups get different colors associated with them, and that's, I think, per grade level as well. A lot of tile starting to be installed, as you can see. That wall over to the left is actually tile. Really cool. And we're going to get several different colors of tile, much like that. Media center over to the right, smaller photo. Larger photo of the media center there. It's really starting to come together. Of course, the elevator, we reported that last month. It's complete, 100%. Cafeteria area. Gym. Gym equipment is starting to be installed, I believe, this week as well. So getting very close. Approximately 83% complete overall. Substantial completion is 11/16. Final completion 12/15. So we're still exceeding our mark. That's good. Super good. Any questions for me?
Moving right along.
Yeah.
And last Friday, we were able to take the staff, we loaded them on a bus and took them over there and let them start to see where they're at. So get a bird's eye view of their rooms, potential rooms where they're going to be, their spaces, and just kind of gave them some rough dates as far as, how we're going to progress as far as the move goes. And so a lot of excitement around that. That was a good time.
So is there a date for the temporary CO and then a final CO?
I would say temporary CO is probably going to be around that substantial completion mark. You get to substantial completion, that's essentially a punch list. So a lot of times
11, 16 days.
we can get it there, yeah.
Okay, and then final, you're going to shoot for when?
The move-in date, so 12/15.
But you'll push to get it sooner than that.
Absolutely, yeah, we always push.
You don't want to be hung up on that because I've had that and that's not
No.
comfortable place to be when you have all
We're
of this coming
absolutely-
and you don't have a final?
Absolutely, and I wouldn't doubt that we could get it sooner than that.
Okay.
Really, that 12/15 is marked with final turnover of the keys, so we should have our occupancy well before that.
Okay. All right, good.
You got good weather too, so that helps things along. Good weather
Oh, it's been
helps.
awesome. Been awesome. We need to rain everywhere else. We need a bubble around the job.
When will the teachers be able to get in and start decorating classrooms? I know those early elementary
You know,
especially.
I don't suggest that any teacher move in until we've punched and completed our punch. That eliminates a lot of pressure point in the end. So I would say, Dave, when is the scheduled teacher move in to start?
We're scheduled to have everything completed by December the 10th, Saturday, December the 10th.
So we are, I would say, compartmentalizing the school. So as we get certain areas done, we're going to lock the doors to classrooms, so nobody can enter. And that further helps us kind of work our way out. So I know Chad and his team's ready to punch as soon as we're ready. And we're going to pre-punch, which should help speed the process at the very end. We're ready to go.
All the furniture and fixtures coming in on schedule?
Well, that is Dave's department.
We are meeting on that Thursday. They're going to be part of the Thursday meeting we have, and so we're going to bring the furniture people. I don't know if they're going to show up or at least on telephone. We're going to get them on board, start talking schedule and plans and about when we start moving furniture in.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Aaron.
You're very
Appreciate it. A
welcome.
lot of good news.
Always. Thank you, guys.
Strategic focus, Mr. Saketa.
Yes, each month, as we talked about recently, we're going to bring you something from the strategic plan for overall school improvement to discuss. And this month, we're going to talk about summer school. And Dr. Mwangi has some of our folks that helped lead summer school with us.
Yes, so Casey Dorton with Joplin High School, and then Chris Garrett is at Cecil Floyd, also was summer school principal, and then Brandy Shipley was one of our summer school teachers who's going to share some info with you. So I'm going to just hit a couple of highlights, and then I'm actually going to turn it over to them to share some things. So Shelley kind of mentioned previously about attendance. So ADA, we have a whole bunch of kids, right? I told you we had over 3,000 enrolled. How much time they actually sit in a seat and what we do during that time generates ADA with our funding formula. So I just wanted to give you some trend data of what this looks like. So for 1920, our regular ADA is separated from our ESY. Our ESY is extended school year for our special needs population who qualifies for that. And then last school year, 240 to 11 with our ESY. This year, we are in the process. We're still disaggregating that out for our ESY, but the total is 245. So last year, the total is 251. This year's 245. We're down 6 ADA points. Summer school is one of the only pieces in the funding formula that is live ADA. So we really work hard to make sure those numbers stay the same, if not better, if we can. Last year was one of our highest years, so beating that was really tricky because we had a lot of people who came and accessed summer school. We also continued our booster bundle, and so Chris may have something to add from the elementary perspective, but we looked, last year was our first summer to do that, so rising first, going into first grade, going into second, and going into third. So the one thing that I will tell you with this data that I was pleased with, you saw an increase. So here's an example of second. First worked really hard last year. And so coming into second grade, that summer we started with 68 on the pretest last year. This year, 75% of them. That was the average score. And then second, 56 to 65 for the beginning, and then 69 to 71 of how we ended. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
So this is my second summer being a principal at Cecil Floyd, and this is one of the reasons why it's been one of my most enjoyable summers, and we'll talk about the camps here in a minute. but you can just see the fruits of our labor and the resources that we're pouring into our kids. And as far as summer school allows us to use this 95% bundle and allows more teachers to do it. And so, and they get a bundle right there, and then they're working it whole group style, and they get to kind of use what this skill and the tools that they've gained there, they get to use in the fall as well. And so that's what I love about it. And the learning just continues. And so Sarah talked about our growth, and that's on par with, at least for Cecil Floyd. And so we're excited for our young kids. They're getting this reading material, and they're able to recognize letters and recognize sounds. And it continues on through summer school, and that's what I love about it. So.
Very good. Middle school highlights, I won't go through all of these, but they did anything from some virtual field trips that Mr. Morgan, I think, put together all the way to the fish hatchery. I did not realize they've got to take their fish home and cook them with their families and eat it. So I thought that was super cool. And then we had a lot of teachers this summer who taught something in summer school that wasn't their normal course, their normal content. We had some middle school go down to elementary. We had some people in their regular content do something different. And so there was a really neat story Mr. Wieselmeyer was sharing about kind of reinvigorated some excitement with the teacher who was kind of feeling like, they're doing the same thing. So we had some really positive highlights there. And I'm going to pass that down to Casey to give you high school highlight. And then we're going to wrap up with our elementary camp, which was a brand new piece for this year.
Okay, so did I skip past something? Nope, that's it.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so high school credit-wise, just to start out with 2 online online classes, which are kind of a hybrid approach. So our kids come 1 day a week at least, and then the rest of it they get to complete online. So online health is offered to just our freshmen coming in. So we had 49 credits, which means 98 of our freshmen coming into high school are starting out with one of their graduation requirements met, which to me is a pretty big deal. Getting that foot in the door and getting on the road with meeting those graduation requirements. Credit recovery, 227 classes were recovered through credit recovery. That number, I feel like that number was down from last year, but we had a COVID year where we had a big flush of kids coming in to recover some things that was some learning loss that we experienced. So still good numbers there. And then summer school PE, 52.5 credits. That's 105 kids that chose to take credit from the PE class. They had to meet 80% attendance through the month of June and July in those programs to be able to receive that. So overall, great numbers there. That's where you can see our numbers kind of fluctuated a little bit from the prior year.
The 2021, we had, as Casey said, a plethora from COVID response. We flooded a ton of credit recovery last summer. So that number is elevated it's a pandemic response with that. But 344, we're still down with 329, but still good numbers as far as credits earned during summer.
Few pictures. High school, we don't get a lot of pictures. Things aren't as exciting at the elementary side, but 37 of our students completed that 4-week FTC program. I met with those computer Minecraft coding kids, and they were way over my head about what they were doing and how they created this coordinate system within Minecraft so they could track where they were at and change all their locations. And so they did a lot of programming in that class. And then there's some welding pictures there. It's just nice to see our kids out just gaining, even if it's a hobby, learning a skill that they might use someday in their life. Then our musical theater always does a great job. 44 kids completed that program. Some of those kids were out-of-district kids coming in, receiving credit for that. And we have to remember that not all those kids are actors. Some of those kids are behind the scenes doing all the stage and technical side of it. So it's pretty awesome there. I'm going to pass it over to you.
So I will say, before Brandy starts, this summer our teachers were given the opportunity to offer a camp, a summer school camp. And so it was theme-based. And Students chose which camp to go into, and it was 2 hours a day. And the smiles on our kids' faces when it was time for camps was just amazing. So they bought into it, our teachers bought into it, and she'll kind of give you a glimpse of it. But I feel like the students that we would have lost at the end of June stayed. And I believe it was because of the camp thing. I mean, they had buy-in to that, and they loved it and loved coming every day. So even though our attendance looks kind of, steady right there, I think we kept some of those students we would have lost. So it's a win.
All right. So the students named the diner. So this is what they came up with. This was the process. He kind of told about it. As far as each teacher put down for 3, 4, and 5th, we put a slide together about what our camp was going to be about, what we would be doing, what the expectations were, all that sort of thing. Then we sent it to Debbie. We sent it to Vicki Gilbert, and then she put it in a PowerPoint. We showed it to the kids Monday and Tuesday of that week, and let the kids get in their mind, like, what are the camps about? Who's teaching them? What are you going to learn during them? What are you going to be doing? That way it gives them a chance to choose what they want to do. We'd let them choose their first 3 choices, so that way, no matter what, each student would get at least one of their choices. We started with 5th grade and let them fill theirs in first due to they wouldn't get camps next year for going on to 6th grade. And then we went down the road, 4th grade and 3rd grade. Some of them capped their classes, at 15 or 16, whatever they had stuff for. I didn't cap mine, but they capped mine at 30 or whatever it got to 30. And so, which was fine. So, other than that's pretty well about it. So I had about 30 of them. This one is different things that they're learning during the camp. So even though it's just two hours long, there's a lot of learning going on. And I have glasses on, but I can't really read that so good.
Learning life skills. That was
Yes, mainly it's life skills. They learned how to cook. They learned how to research recipes. They learned how to cook on an electric skillet. They learned how to cook in a crock pot. They learned how to wait tables. I bought waitressing deals, and literally we role played and we learned how to take orders. The teachers and the staff at Cecil Floyd were amazing because they let my students come around and take an order. So we'd have menus and they would pass the menus out. We had fake money. We cut out money. That way they could learn to count back money, because that's another life skill that students don't have, or they're lacking some of them. So we cut money out. The students had their little bag of money. The teachers all had theirs. We passed out money to them every week. The students would have to total the tickets up, and then they would have to count the money back to that teacher. And then they would have to go to the room, make their plate, whatever they wanted, and deliver it to them. The last week we did an actual sit-down restaurant style, and we cooked everything in the crock pots. We cooked roast carrots and potatoes. We cooked homemade macaroni and cheese. We cooked homemade meatloaf. We cooked some desserts. And a bunch of different stuff. And so then the students actually came in during their lunch break, and the teachers, once again, were amazing because they let the students stay, and the servers, they served the teachers. I didn't. I would help dish some of the food in a certain area or whatever, but they would take their order, they would make their plate, take it to them. We made drinks, the whole 9 yards. We decorated the classroom to kind of look like a restaurant. We also, found educational online things for cooking, like cooking games, that sort of thing. We did that. Each recipe or each thing we made, each group had to find the recipe, write it down. Not only that, but they had to figure out what each item cost. So we played games to where I'd have the receipt from Walmart and I'd put them in teams and I'd be like, okay, how much do you think this costs? A bag of cheese, shredded cheese. And then each group would get to tell me and then I'd write it on the board. They couldn't believe, some of them couldn't believe like what things cost. So then we added all the tickets up and divided by the number of students and how much does it cost to make just this dish to feed this many people. So we did a lot of that sort of stuff also. And then we also incorporated reading into it. And we read a book called June Jam by Ron Roy, and we made, it was about jam, and it was for Father's Day type deal, and so we made homemade jam, literally, like they smashed the strawberries, they mixed it, we put it in a crock pot, we boiled it that way, and then I let each of them, we had toast and jam, and then I let each of them take a little sample home to their parents or whatever in a little jar, mason jar. So I tried to incorporate pretty well every aspect of education into the 2-hour learning for that time. So, and I got aprons and chef's hats and they decorated them. They named their own restaurants. They came up with different names for their restaurants. They had to have different prices, that sort of thing. And each one of them, they weren't perfect, but they, I mean, even every menu that we had, they had to incorporate like pictures and words and how much it was, because they had to know how much to charge the people for whatever they wanted to be able to count the money back to them. So it was basically life skills, and they got to eat, of course, which was what, I mean, that's a bonus. So, and every teacher got to eat at least twice a week and then have dinner with us on the last. So here's some pictures of the students there making cupcakes. We have music playing. I mean, each table does it. So, and it's funny because one girl's like, this is 1 1/4, and she poured it, which I had extra stuff, but they didn't know. It's really just 1/4. I just need 1/4 of oil, not really 1 1/4. Not a big deal. We just, so they can't, they don't learn unless they make some mistakes. So that was the whole part of the growing. So here's some more cupcake making. Then we decorated the cupcakes, of course. The kitchen staff was very nice as far as they did let us bake a couple items in there. They probably got a little frustrated, so we quit about personal pizza time. So then we did personal pizzas. And again, everything we cooked, we went and got the teachers ordered to. We let them come in and make their own personal pizza. And then we wrote their name like in a Sharpie so we would know which one goes to which. And so these are we just used biscuits and spaghetti sauce and that sort of stuff. Then we cooked in an electric skillet. We made breakfast in an electric skillet. So we did scrambled egg with cheese. We did pancakes, homemade pancakes, and we did pancakes from a box so they could learn both of them. We did bacon. We did pancakes, peanut butter, chocolate chip, and regular. Bacon, eggs, pancakes. Desserts in the crock pot. So we let them each research different desserts in a crock pot, and then I just came up with 8 different ones, so that pretty well every table would get to make a certain dessert. So we did those. Then they took the orders on the notepads. They washed dishes. The boys, and I have videos and stuff, but the boys wash dishes. Not that I don't think boys wash dishes, but they were like the first in there. Now they were getting a prize at the end, so I mean, I did have to do that. But luckily, Mr. Gare got some stuff donated. These little things that go around your arms. The kids love them. Whatever it takes, let's wash some dishes and clean the room because I'm not doing all the dishes. We made homemade barbecue meatballs, literally rolled the hamburger, put it in a skillet, cooked it, made the sauce homemade to go with it. We delivered food to the teachers. And then we had like a deal outside that said everything that we were having for the day. The kids wrote all the stuff on there and decorated. I did not. We did place setting. The kids learned how to set a table. I did not do that. I taught them how to set the table, where your plates go, where your bowls go, your cups, your silverware, what they're used for, napkins, all that sort of stuff. But they set the classroom. They decorated it. They did all the table settings. And then this is where the students, or the servers, the teachers came in and sat down, and then each one of the students would serve each teacher. So each of them got to, and then this was about the June Jam, where we made the jam in the crock pot, and each person got to take it home. And then teachers wrote reviews. That was really nice. Students loved them. I showed them that. Teachers and staff, they sent emails. They were very, like I said, they all were very, because they had to, no, they didn't have to, but we would ask can they stay over a little bit on the last day so they can help everybody serve. And the teachers were very, very helpful. And the same thing with, letting the kids come to their room and count back money to them. It takes time out of the teachers too, but they did it. So that was great. Administration was great. They participated. They came in and had lunch with us. They had a blast. Here's one of the Yelp reviews from the second grade, 5 stars. Absolutely loved how fantastic the food, the service, the atmosphere was. It Shipley's Dazzling Diner. The meatloaf, mac and cheese, punch were so flavorful. The pot roast just fell apart. It was so juicy. Compliments to the chefs. Our servers provided phenomenal customer service too, such friendly faces and manners. We even saw a celebrity, aka Mr. Garrett. Our waitress and our waiters got his autograph for us, and we took a selfie. We highly recommend eating here. So they did. So the kids got to see that. And then here was another one. The nurse came in and she had to get hers to go. So I actually had to go containers so I could teach that aspect. So they were able to make her a to-go container so she could get back to her lunch. And I think that might be it. So that's just what one of them was. A lot of them, a lot of the teachers had great ideas also, not just mine. They, and I think the kids really focused a lot more, and it was something they wanted to do. For one, they got to choose it. Therefore, it made it to where they were focused more. They knew what the aspect was. They chose it. They maybe didn't get their first choice that they wanted, but that's why we had them choose 3, so they would get at least something that they wanted. And then next year, they could tell everybody else to come to summer school. This is how the camps are. We had a cookout, a lot of fun things in summer school that I think also kept the students there, because I wouldn't necessarily tell them what we were going to do or make. I would just give them ideas, and so that way they had to come to find out. So that was a lot of it too. And they were so excited to go serve the teachers, go to the different rooms. We split them up. They pretty well helped in every aspect. So I felt it was a good life skills, and we incorporated everything educational into it while we did it. And all the teachers and staff are really good as far as supportive.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
So I think the summary from summer camp was, we're doing it again.
It's good.
So now that we've got year 1 under the belt, teachers really can figure out their niche and kind of reproduce for those next summer. So.
Sounds like it was fun.
Yeah.
Sarah, a comment, everything was very good. Thank you to the 3 of you for being here. It's always great to hear what's happening in school. And, sometimes, unfortunately, our schools are not, we don't teach enough real life skills. So I think it's really good that we're able to showcase some of those we were able to do in the off season of school during our summer. I looked at the credit recovery numbers, 2019 in the 340s, pushing north of 450 for 2020, or in 2021. And then this year, 324. I recognize that every year there's going to be credit recovery as part of this, and that's a good thing. But would you say that as the numbers have gone down from their peak last school year, that we're catching up in terms of our recovery from some of the unintended consequences of the pandemic?
I think that's a valid inference because we know our numbers were super high last year. We had a ton that we were just catching up depending on where they were coming into us at. The other thing with that is we have kids who choose not to take it for credit. So we have some things that kids come for and they don't take it for credit. For example, PE. So it's all a credit game. But I would say your comparison of credits from one year to the next, a lot of that has to do with we don't have as many kids from last school year specifically that failed who needed credit recovery. As your F rates go down, your credit recovery also goes down. So that's it.
Seems to have stabilized.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say. Since we've added Shally Lundeen to the high school as that interventionist piece, she's able to really assist us at the freshman and sophomore level to kind of catch a hold of those kids early on and prevent some of this shortcoming on credits as they're starting out their freshman and sophomore year of high school. So that's a big help to us. Also, those systems in place like night school, we have a skill recovery block. We have our flex program and middle options program. So those things all assist in that, just keeping those numbers down overall.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing, and I see the interaction with students. You know, I've had other people that I visit with in the community who are very complimentary of the handwritten notes and the compliments for positive grades. That it's not just people who may be struggling, it's everybody. It seems like that's a touch point for those younger students. That's a great strategy that you guys can pull.
Very good.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good presentation.
Very good.
For having
Now for health and dental plan update. Shelley?
Okay, for the first month of the health and dental insurance, normally the first month of the year, you don't see a whole lot of activity. We did have quite a bit this July. We had 2 large claims that came through, so we spent $738 of our budget, or 9.86%. That also included, we had a rebate that came back against that of almost $161,000, or it would have been much closer to $900,000. So we did have a big month, but we do a lot of times in the summer see a lot of the teachers that's the time that they're able to go to the doctors, and so we do see a surge sometimes over the summer. Any questions?
No questions. Move on to financial statements.
Okay, and on the financial statement, Eric, if you'd pull up the condensed financial statement, that page 4. This year, or this month, we saw an increase in the federal funding, and a lot of that came from the lunch money. They didn't pay that out in June. The DESE was delayed on paying that out to us, and it didn't hit until July, and that was $618,000. So that's the biggest chunk of that difference in the revenue. And on the expense side, we did see some yearly software items that we pay. A lot of those hit in the month of July, and where last year we didn't pay for some of those until August and September. And then also the construction, we had some bills to process and went through. Any questions on the financial statement?
Just in the other column, what was that again?
That is the other revenue the bulk of that is the Beacon tuition that's coming in. And so depending on when those invoices went out this year, I don't think a lot of those went out until later, and we only received, $300,000. So we should be seeing a little more of that coming in before, in the next month or so. Or no, wait, actually I think we saw more in June that came in. So that some of that came in June or July last year. And I think we had some of that hit in June of this year that was for the prior year. I'm probably not saying that very well. It was a timing.
Okay, and then in your FY '22, it says final budget. That should be at some point in time the final actual, right?
this, on the fiscal year 22, that is the action, the end. Well, no, that's the final budget that was adopted, that was approved.
So when does it become the actual?
The year-to-date, well, we always show the budget number, and then the year-to-date is our actual numbers for each month.
Okay.
For that month only. So then we're showing a comparison between budget to actual.
And this is the first month of this fiscal year.
Correct.
So last month's board statement would have had final numbers for fiscal year 22.
Any other questions?
But at some point in time, that FY '22 has to become the final actual, because we're in the '23 budget year, right?
Yeah, what we're doing here is showing a comparison of this month, this year, to this month, last year,
In the year-to-date columns.
in the year-to-date
I
columns.
understand that.
And then and we've always shown just budget of comparison of what we've collected or spent to our budget number.
Right, but FY '22 eventually, since it's in the rearview mirror,
Yes.
what did we actually spend? It's the actual. It shouldn't be compared to budget. It should be, this is actual. Because then when we look at this, we say, okay, year-to-date, here's what's happened so far. And then you can see the FY '23 budget, the dollars approved versus what did we actually spend in FY '22. I mean, that's the way I always look at this.
That's okay. And
But I knew we didn't have everything finalized yet, so I knew you were still operating off of, some actual plus budget. But at some point in time, it just has to be actual.
actual, and we can change this presentation if you would like.
I think the
board
things that are in the
prefer that.
mirror, we should change that FY '22. Once you have all your final numbers and everything
Just
is,
have it actual.
yeah.
We can do that.
Dotted and T's crossed, then I'd make that the actual, because then you can actually see year over year and also see that year to date, which both of those are very helpful. And I appreciate the fact that you did change this to where it's at.
I'll be glad to make that change.
Okay.
Any more discussion? And now is public comment. Pat, do we have any public comments? I don't see any. Okay, I would entertain a motion.
The consent agenda as presented.
Motion by Riley, second by Donnie. Please vote.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Is he talking?
No, I think he's getting something to eat.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that.
Hamburger,
motion
yes.
passes. You have your phone.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, we're gonna have to switch you over. Can you call Kerry? My battery's getting ready to die, buddy. Okay. Can you FaceTime him? Okay, thank you. Okay.
Regular agenda.
We are on the regular agenda.
Okay.
Accounts payable, so Shelley?
Okay, accounts payable, we have the bill list tonight, which is $7,786,749.70. Compared to the prior year, a year ago, it was $5,455,000, but there was not a monthly payroll in last year at the same time frame. So any questions?
Entertain a motion.
Entertain a motion to pay our bills as presented by Ms. Shelley Tops.
Second?
Motion by John, second by David. Any discussion? Please vote.
Yes.
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 Jeff?
Yes.
Yes, that motion passes. Now, Shelley, again, we're going to set the tax levy for the 2022-2023 school year.
Okay, every year we are required to set our tax rate before September the 1st. And at our tax rate hearing tonight, the board passed the resolution to use the tax rate ceiling of $3.10 cents with a voluntary reduction of 19.5 cents to bring it down to a final levy of $2.91 for the operating and 75 cents for the debt service. So are there any questions?
I move to set the tax rate ceiling and approve the tax levy in the amount of $3.66 per $100 of assessed valuation allocated as $2.91 for the general fund, 0 cents for the special revenue fund, 75 cents for the debt service fund, 0 cents for the capital project fund.
Motion by Riley, second by Donnie. Any discussion? Please vote.
Yes.
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 Jeff?
Yes. That motion passes. Pluses and deltas.
Great job tonight from summer school staff. I thought I think it's encouraging to see some of the stabilization and credit recovery in the district, as well as
You've done a fine job.
looking at our tax levy, that we continue to maintain very, very reasonable taxes here in our school district for our taxpayers, as well as we're able to present a path forward to position the district in a very, very strong way as we move into what could be some changes in the coming years. So you've answered a lot of questions tonight, Shelley, so this has been your meeting, but my hat's off to you.
Yeah, I would also echo the summer school, the program, the enthusiasm of the three that presented tonight is great. I think it's very indicative of the teachers that support that in the summer. So we should pass on the congratulations to everybody and the effort they put forward on that. On a delta, I wouldn't call it a negative. I just call it a caution. Is that as we look at how we spend, and we're in a great position right now. I appreciate all the work you do there on that, Shelley. But we need to be very mindful as we look into the future as far as the various inflationary pressures, how we spend our dollars, how we invest, and how we look at things longer term. And the fact that we're in this position, I think, is partially because we've been conservative in the approach. And I think that's something as we as a board are going to have to continue to look at that, especially as we go into the future on that. So appreciate all the effort. I support everything we did there, but I do have a level of concern as we look forward. And I think for all of us, we're going to have to continue to be mindful of that.
All great points.
I think in addition to that, I guess it's a delta, but I spend a lot of time at the soccer fields, and every time I'm there, I see this, I think it's a 40 by 60 pad, and it's just sitting there empty and vacant. And I know we passed back in April in our capital outlay, we're going to build this building. It's a storage building, and it's not done yet. I think we need to get back to our basics, get Dave on the job. I saw him sing and dance. I know and can trust anything he can put together. So I would impress upon our administration, let's get that thing done and we can close the books on that. So
I thought, go ahead, Don.
I just want to say on the plus side, I want to congratulate administrative staff, JPPT, everybody who's been involved with back to school, getting teachers, getting the buildings, the administration, everybody up, ready to go. Seemed pretty flawless from what I was seeing over the last couple of weeks. What flaws might have been there were well hidden from and taken care of. It was just great events, great times. Everybody was very enthusiastic, from administration to staff to departments and facilities. The energy coming into this year was great, and seeing kids in open houses being ready for this year. I even heard that high school open house was very well attended over some previous years. So it's great to hear where we're at and coming into this year. So congratulations to everybody involved.
I think it's hard to fathom how many teachers and staff members were in that building and the excitement. It was absolutely phenomenal. So hats off. And we got Dancing Dave back there. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything. More. I've never, and with the plunger, just utilizing the things that you had at that specific time was phenomenal. So thank you for entertaining to everyone.
And I want to echo what everybody's saying. It was a lot of hard work, but it was all worth it. And that's what we have to do every year, is to get everybody on the right foot moving forward. So I appreciate everybody's effort in that.
It's been fun to watch all summer, the different levels of camps and sports and music and at the middle school and high school levels. And we get to showcase that here this weekend as our football teams, our band, all of our athletics are kicking off. And thankful for the opportunities for kids to participate and give them some camaraderie with other students. And I think that's great, a part of their education they'll remember for a lot of years. So thank you to all of our coaches. And then also thank you to Justin. I know you've had a very busy summer, and certainly appreciate your efforts in your department. If you'd express that. We're thankful for their efforts this summer.
Looking forward to seeing everybody on Friday. Let's go and show our support, I think.
Yes, that's a reminder. First football game Friday night. We have a soccer game tonight, in fact, but we're going to bring the press box in, have a ribbon cutting for the press box Friday night.
I think Jeff has.
Jeff, you have something?
I've got one remote plus, and maybe not everybody knows this, but as soon as they posted the meeting agenda, and Derek knew I was going to be gone, he called me, I think, 3 or 4 times this week to make sure that he was prepared for everybody and that he could lead, and it really shows, and I really appreciate that. Thank you, Derek.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. So
With that,
I would entertain
So
a
moved.
motion to adjourn. Brent, Riley? Any discussion? No, never mind. Go ahead and vote. Let's get it.
Yes.
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 Yes, we are adjourned.
Okay, thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, guys.
Be careful.
Okay, then we're all running.